Thom kali ini. Oh, ini dia 3 lawan 3 Profesor Thom Haye. Welcome to the very first episode of the Haye Way, the podcast of Thom Haye. Every week we dig into the life of Thom, off and on the field. So we're going to discuss everything about Team Indonesia, Almere, but also his talents for fashion. And maybe also a little bit about his talents on the paddle court. Thom, it's the very first episode. How excited are you?
Yes, honestly, I'm really excited. We've been talking about it for a long time, so excited we're finally starting.
Yeah, exciting times. We're going to talk a lot about football, of course, about your role in the Indonesian team, your career here in Holland, but also we're going to talk about fashion, music, TikTok, food, personal life. So if you're listening and you're hoping that we're only going to talk about football, that's not the case. But before we start, of course, everyone knows you. That's clear.
Not everyone.
But say, people have been living under a rock. Could you introduce yourself a little bit? Your background.
Yes, a real introduction. I don't think it's necessary, but most people know me from playing football, of course, for the national team of Indonesia and my career before that. And we talked about it a lot, starting a podcast. And I think it's nice to have your own platform to talk about things you like, but also share a lot of more personal insights. And it's nice to share it with you as well. So maybe it's more important that you introduce yourself, because everyone is looking at you like,
who is this guy?
Yeah, where is he coming from? So
so my name is Neal Petersen. We have, of course, both a relationship with Indonesia. Your dad is from Indonesia. My dad's from Indonesia. My dad grew up in Jakarta, then moved when he was like 6 years old with his family to Holland. My mom is from Ireland. I started in media, I think, 18 years ago. So I'm getting really old.
Yeah.
And 10 years ago, I started FC Afkikken. So that's the production company. We're also in the studio of FC Afkikken. And when I was younger, I could play a little bit of football. I made it until the highest youth team of FC Groningen.
And then you got injured?
No. I played in Austria 1 year. And then when I moved to...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there you go.
Huh?
Yeah, 1 year in Austria. And then I played in the States, in Boston. So I played college. So I got a scholarship to play soccer, how they call it there. And then I tore my ACL and my MCL. And then was finished. So nowadays I only play 5-a-side. I like to play paddle. And maybe it's also a good thing about how we met. Do you remember the first time we saw each other?
No. First of all, I want to say that it was a really good introduction. I think.
Okay, thank you. Terima kasih.
Yeah.
No, but no, you have no idea?
No, you have to help me with that.
It was 9 years ago. 9.5 years, nearly 10 years ago. In January, it's 10 years.
Everyone you meet, you remember this?
No, but I know what you did.
Okay, what did I do?
So we had Vincent Janssen.
Watch out what you're going to say.
No.
I don't know.
It's Vincent Janssen, who was a guest on our show. And then, it's 2016, because Vincent played the season 15-16, he played for AZ, right? Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. And then it was January 2016, and he was just in December. He was in a show from us, and we had a good we got a good conversation. We played FIFA until deep in the night, and then 2 weeks later, I think it was in the Christmas break, I was in a really famous bar in Amsterdam, The Bubbles. You still have no idea, right?
No, yeah.
You jumped on my back.
Why?
Because you thought I was someone else. So I saw Vincent.
Yeah.
Vincent was standing on the bar, and I said, "Hey," and then you jumped on my back, and then you looked at me. So hey. That was the first.
Which I do with all of my friends to greet them.
No, but that's the first time we met.
Yeah, I don't remember.
No, and then I think it took a while. No, I think the first time you were on our show was when you played for Lecce in
Possible.
Italy.
Yeah,
then we did. That was a great, because you were. It was during a Skype call.
When you
got promoted.
Celebrating.
Yeah. You were celebrating. Yeah, And then we'll discuss this story a different time. I think the best time we had when Vincent celebrated his birthday.
Yeah,
and we had a great night out.
He organized the Sensation White.
Sensation White. He had a really big party.
Yeah.
So I think Vincent's stories will come also a little bit in this podcast. But to make it clear for people, when we were discussing about podcasts, we produce a lot of podcasts, and then I thought, hey, Thom, always when we talk, we have so many stories. We were talking about crypto in the past. You like golf a lot. You have been voted, I think, most fashionable player in Holland a couple of years ago.
I was nominated.
Oh, you didn't win?
No. I didn't get enough votes.
Who did you lose against?
Now I will win for sure.
But who did you lose against?
Rens from Ajax.
He's also nice. Yeah? Like, his style is
and
nice.
A good fan base also.
He has a good fan base. So, but now if they nominate you, I think you will win. But it's good to tell the people, like, you're really passionate about football, because I don't know a lot of players who like to play football more than you do. And that's not only on the games in the weekend, but also in the practice. You really take good care of yourself with food, with sleep and rest. But there's more than you, like, to you than only the football.
Yes, and I think that's like what you say. It's also the fun part about starting the podcast. It's nice to do it with a friend, of course.
Yeah.
But it's also a fun way of sharing my interest, and also to get more interaction with the people behind the camera, of course, which is always I'm really grateful for all the support I get and all the messages, and I think it's also nice to interact more in this way as well. So I'm really excited for the coming period.
Yeah, and we'll dig into way more maybe this podcast or next couple of weeks. Also for listeners, if you think, they should definitely talk about this, or I have a question for Thom, just drop us a note on Instagram, TikTok, send us an email. I don't know how you can reach us. Maybe when you're playing in Indonesia, put up a sign.
Yeah,
right?
But we will make sure of that everyone knows where to send to.
Yeah,
all the questions.
It would be
stuff,
fantastic in the stadium, right?
Yeah,
imagine you playing and there's a question for you for the podcast.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not busy what's happening in the stands.
I will scan it for you.
Okay, thank you. But at least it's a nice way to connect with everyone. So hopefully we can really get this interaction going.
Yeah, but because I wanted to go back to the first time we met, is that I thought, who is this? Now, it took me 2 seconds, and then I saw you because I knew you because you were already a professional player. But the thing is, what was your reaction? You have no idea that it happened. But what was your first impression?
Probably I erased everything because I was a little bit embarrassed.
Going back in the years, like 9 years ago, what was your idea about what we were doing with FC Afkikken at that time?
It's hard to remember, but I got to know you through a friend, of course. So that makes it a lot of times a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to know you in that way, and of course it's always it's very interesting because it was a little bit new.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last years everything is developing as well. But honestly, I got to know you as a really busy guy. Still, it's like really hard to get in touch with you. So
sorry to say that
it's a really special moment today that we're sitting here together.
No way.
The great Neal Petersen found some time in his agenda to sit here with me. So that's of course a big honor.
Why do you always think that I'm so busy?
Because you are busy.
No.
Huh?
No.
It's hard to get a hold of you.
Sometimes sometimes it's busy times, and especially because I became a dad 6 months ago, so that's a little bit more stressing and less hours of sleep.
Yes,
as you can see. But but that's why I think that's the funny thing that we were discussing. I think for months about this podcast. And we'll dig deeper in that in a different episode, because this summer, I think you just complained about me that I had no time. I spoke with you nearly every day about a new club. Honestly, what should I do, Neal? What am I doing?
This was one of the craziest summers of my life.
So we do a special episode about that, because honestly, there was a crazy summer. But then it was we already had to plan for the summer. And then we said, all right, let's see how this develops, where you're going to play. And now everything turns out. And for the people, good to know, will be every Thursday, we'll be live with a new episode. During the week, we have all social stuff, but every Thursday we have a new episode. And that's cool because you're now living back in Amsterdam.
Yes, which is really nice. Also.
Really nice. So you can, I don't know if you came here by bike, but you could, because I think it's 10, 15 minutes with the bike.
Yes, but I had to go directly from
the club.
From the club, so now it's different. But normally everything is on the electric bike.
Electric bike,
yes.
Yeah. And then of course people are going to say the Haye Way, the Haye Way. I don't know. I don't care how you pronounce it. It's the Haye Way or the Haye Way. How did we come up with the name? Because I think that's really interesting for people to know.
Yeah, probably we shouldn't make it more difficult than it is. Actually, it speaks for itself. So yeah, we call it the Haye Way, aka my way. Just like we did with the introduction. It's just a platform, a nice platform for me to show more about myself and share a lot of my interests. And also for the people who like to follow me and on my journey to interact with that journey and to take them along on the journey. So what I say, it's all about the connection with the viewers as well. So I think that's pretty much why we came up with that name.
Yeah, and the thing is, of course, we have a weekly podcast. That's what we're going to start with. But the idea is also to do more than the podcast, right?
Yes.
Or do you want to keep that a secret?
Yeah, not a secret, but the idea is to start with the podcast, of course. And from there, it's also a little bit feeling like, what does the audience like? What do you guys like to see more? And we will try and find things to keep everyone entertained.
Yeah.
And just make it a fun journey together.
Yeah. And I already told you, I would really like to do it. Like, this is episode 1. But if it goes well, then next year in June to do some live podcast with audience in Indonesia together, right?
Yeah, just throw it out there.
Yeah, no, but like, I was thinking about it.
I was always a little bit like, just wait and see. We start a podcast. It's nice to share some things, but you're thinking big already.
No, like, I'm not thinking big about views or listeners and stuff. Because what I think is really cool about the podcast, and that's what I'm really happy that you're so open about so many things, is that you can learn so much about a person like you, a professional player, that is not only smiles and good things in life. There's so much more to that. Now, I know a lot about you, and I'm happy you're also going to share this with the listeners. And then to do that with a real audience, because it's just us two, Noah, who's always on his phone because he's the social media guy, and Kenneth, the editor-in-chief, who's always angry with me. And Neal, you have to start now. It's only the 4 of us right now. And then, imagine doing this for an audience. I think you're going to be so scared then.
Of course. Yeah, but
that's the future.
Like, you get, in this world, you get so much attention for playing football.
Yeah.
But actually, it's really weird to say, but even with the thought of that, my social anxiety is like...
But that's so weird, because you play in stadiums. You played in stadiums for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 people, 80,000 people. And then probably you have some nerves when you start the game. But if you play, it's like, I play paddle with you. It's the same. If we play paddle, I see the same focus with you. You get angry. If you play with your dad against me, you beat them twice, the family Haye. Yeah. But
one game wasn't finished because you didn't book the right court for the amount of time we needed to stop.
I can tell the people what the score was at that time.
Yeah, but it's
6-2, 2-6, 5-1.
But the game didn't finish.
Yeah, okay, sure.
The game didn't finish.
Yeah, but I can. That's the funny thing to see is that the look in your eyes, the determination you have. It's the same if I see you play for Indonesia or for Almere. The only difference is we play with 4 people on a paddle court. Nobody's watching. And then there's so many people in a stadium. But that doesn't matter to you.
Yeah, but I think that's also maybe a nice part of this podcast with all the different subjects, which we will talk about. That it's really crazy, but I'm used to playing football since I can walk. And I've played professional football for a really long time now. So it's something it's almost like I don't need to think about anything. I do everything on feel and I trust on myself because I know that if I do what I can do, everything will work out. So that's a really nice feeling because you just trust on your quality. So in this type of moments, I don't feel any kind of stress.
No.
I'm honestly really relaxed.
Yeah.
And the fun
You're
thing
more
is
nervous
that
for this podcast than for playing for
yes,
Indonesia.
and the fun thing about this is that other people look at this and the thought of playing for so many people will stress them out.
Yeah.
But for me, in life, there are other things which for other people seem like really normal that have that effect on me. And that's also the fun thing with everything we're going to discuss in the...
So what's something that stresses you really out in life?
What stresses me out?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I just have a little bit of the social anxiety.
So
you know
entering a restaurant, you think that's awkward?
No, what for me is awkward is meeting new people.
Really?
Yes. Why are you laughing?
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because I don't know them yet.
Yeah, but like you're smart, you're social, you have a good story. So why are you afraid to meet new people?
I don't know. I cannot explain it. It's just the feeling of not knowing. Oh no, I can. I have a better way to explain.
Yeah.
I have a lot of nerves.
Yeah.
With things I don't feel I'm in control.
But that's what I understand.
And this can be in a lot of different settings. Yeah. But we will talk about that more in.
You know what I have? I'll share one thing, and people don't believe it. I cannot go on my own to an event. So I'll be invited for an event, for a book presentation or a premiere of a new movie.
This is almost the same. Because of course, when you're with someone you know, it's easier.
You know what happened the last time?
So you're laughing at me, but this is exactly the same.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but the thing is, like, people think about me that I'm extrovert, that I'm always like, but I won't say I'm an introvert, but my cousin in Ireland, we're having lunch, my girlfriend, my cousin, and my cousin, she said to my girlfriend, yeah, but everyone thinks Neal's an extrovert, but he's a really introvert. And then my girlfriend looked at me, Neal? Introvert, and now she knows when we go to places. So it's more like social gatherings, like people invite me to go there, and I always ask someone to go with me.
Yeah, but I learned about this, about the introvert and extrovert. Yeah. Like when someone is like a busy guy and talks a lot like you, it doesn't.
You're
mean...
talking more in this podcast than I am. Do you want some water?
Yes, please. It doesn't mean you're an extrovert.
No, that's
because
true.
They say like extrovert people, they can charge really well when surrounded with other people. And introvert people, it costs a lot of energy to be with other people, and then they have to charge when they're on their own.
Yeah, sometimes. No,
that's exactly like me.
But how do you do it in a dressing room?
Yeah, but in a dressing room it's really easy because you can chat with the guys, but it's also really easy to put in some music and take your own moment.
Yeah. I was thinking about, and now Kenneth's going to be really angry at me.
Again.
I thought we should introduce the people, the listeners in Indonesia, every week to a new Dutch word. And the first one I thought, are you a gangmaker in the in the dressing room? And then for the people who are listening.
But why is Kenneth getting angry?
Yeah, because Kenneth said we have to do this, we have to do that, and now I'm just kidding. Kenneth will be happy. But gangmaker for the listeners, gangmaker is a guy who's always.
You don't start with the easiest word.
No, it's difficult. Gangmaker, but gangmaker is the guy who is always up for organizing stuff. Who's always making jokes and stuff. Are you the gangmaker in Team Indonesia?
Honestly, I have two sides. Depends. In which mood I am.
Okay.
I can be, but I can also be really calm and quiet.
Yeah. Gangmaker. Do you think a lot of people can pronounce it?
It's gonna be hard with the first letter.
Yeah.
But once you get it,
Drop it in our
easy.
Insta DM. Send us voice notes. Gangmaker. Yes? Okay.
And we will show the best one.
The best one we will show with name and everything. We show it here in. And that's a good thing also for the listeners. You're all listening now. We're very happy about that. It's really easy. It's free. That's really important. It's free for everyone. Just subscribe. So subscribe to this podcast where you're listening on your favorite podcast listening device. That can be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube. The only thing is just subscribe. And then every week you get all the updates. And that's also important to say for the people. It's not only the podcast, especially on YouTube. We'll put also small pieces. We'll play some games with Thom. That's going to be really interesting. And
really interesting.
Yeah. And if you're a follower, please send them some questions for Thom.
Yeah, it would be nice to.
Yeah. Otherwise, every week I have to ask the questions. Be nice.
If then people will get annoyed and bored of you. So.
Ooh. All right.
We shouldn't let that happen.
I think this is a good moment to end this first episode because you're getting really cheeky at the moment. How was it? The first episode?
No, the moment I'm start getting relaxed, the podcast is finished. So,
but it was easy, right?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
No, it's really, honestly, it's really fun to do because, like you said, we discussed it for a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's not weird to be a little bit nervous, but it's really nice to, like I said, to share the journey with everyone and also to interact more with everyone. So. I'm excited for what's coming next.
I'm really excited. So every week in the studio with Thom, it's going to be a hell of a ride. Thank you for listening or viewing this podcast. And we'll be back next week after Thom has played 2 games against Saudi Arabia and
Japan.
Okay, we'll be back next week.